The Jenn Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, is an inspirational hour that'll take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jenn Royster is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Imagine having the ability to use your innate positive energy to dissolve the stuckness in your life, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual, through this incredible dynamic show. Get ready to be transformed from Dr. Jenn's live guided healing meditations and intuitive readings, and unveil the power of connecting to spirit, the angels, and your higher self. Dr. Jenn is passionate about helping you find the answers you're looking for through an inward journey that'll strengthen your connection to spirit and help you trust your intuition. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jenn Royster.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Jenn, and today we're going to talk all about September and the energy that's rolling in. It's an interesting month. It has a lot of dynamics, and it's preparing us for big events in October. So we're going to go through the entire month, the energy. I'm going to present you some interesting tidbits and what September has for us. And that is going to be what? Today's the 26th of August, so we've got a few days to get in alignment with it. And just be ready, because it's a turning point coming up. This is a big shift of energy when we get to this time of year anyway. But it's interesting what we have to share with you today. So I want to welcome everyone. If you're brand new to the show, we talk about metaphysical topics, the angelic realm, energy healing. We do some readings at the second half of the show. So this first half, I'm going to give you the information because this is going to go over the whole month of September and what insights and things that I've researched and discovered that I think will be interesting for you to know moving into the month. So we have the live chat open on YouTube if you want to join us over there. And I will get to your questions in just a bit. So let's get started because there's a little bit here to share. And every time I go into this for the week, for each new show, I just keep finding more and more interesting things. So it's just such a historical time we're going through, and everything feels like the table turned upside down on us, and sometimes, okay, yep, we're good, and then it seems like it turns upside down again. We are going with the flow. We are really learning flexibility will be a second nature for us right now. So here's what's going on. Now, as we're rolling closer to the month of September, it can feel like, okay, I'm getting this feeling that something is coming. Something is shifting. If you've been sensing that, you're not by yourself. That's a normal kind of sense of something's up. What's going on here? So I found that interesting because October's the month that has the big cosmic shifts. That's where a lot of changes are coming. September is giving us little hints about that. Kind of giving little subtle hints, you know, hey, this is going to be happening. So that's where you might be sensing that. You might be feeling this, and you might be, well, I don't know what's going on, but something's up. All of that is, the September month is preparing us for what all the big shifts that are coming in October. It's a time of year where there's big cosmic shifts. So we might feel that we need to make some changes in our life, or, you know, I really need to stop doing what I'm doing. I need to change directions. I need to improve on something. I need to learn something new. All of the above. There won't be one answer for that. Don't let that drive you crazy, okay? Don't overanalyze it too much. Just realize that the universe is bringing us opportunity to be curious, so we'll explore different directions, different opportunities, different ways of doing everything. So that's actually a good thing, because if it was just okay and set in stone, you would just keep going, right? And I asked the angels about this because I went, what in the world? What can I share on this show? Because sometimes people have a tendency to get anxious about things that are unknown. Obviously, it's like, wait, what's happening now? And then sometimes it just looks like, oh no, gloom and doom again. And then maybe there's challenges that are going to bring us into something else in a light. What I've learned with my experience, with my spiritual awakening, and just as I grow through my own personal spiritual growth, I can share that with you. Like what I've learned is that there's always two sides to a story. There's always a positive and a negative. There's always a light and a dark. It's what you choose to focus on. So keep that in mind. Remember that as you see things going on. When you feel that you need to shift, or you might feel that the world's shifting around you and you're not trying to shift anything. That will be the case for some people too. Just keep that in mind as well. I know, I'm not trying to put out a gloom and doom here. I am trying to let you know that there's opportunities here. It's nothing like that. It's just that I want you to be aware of it too. So it will feel amplified, you know, as you go into September and we get close to the equinox, you know, the first day of fall. Right there, that's the halfway point. And what do you mean the halfway point? In astrology, the first month is Aries and the last month is Pisces. So that puts us, when we get to this point in September, the halfway point. That's like right in the middle. It's not like July like we're used to with the regular calendar, but it's right now. So it's a couple months off, you know, from what we might be used to with a calendar. So this is the halfway shifting point right here. And it's a highly sensitive time. The September or the fall equinox is the one in September, is usually very highly sensitive. You feel it a little bit more because this is where we hear about the veil starting to thin a little bit more. And you hear a lot about it in October when we get closer to Halloween and all that. But it starts to thin out now. You're starting to feel that sense of, I'm connecting easier, or I'm having a sense of someone's presence, or you have dreams, or just 2 nights ago. And you know, this has happened to me before at different times, but the presence of someone, you can actually feel them, but it's coming from another dimension. Yeah, and sometimes it scares people. It scares the bejeebies out of them. But a lot of times your guardian angel will do that. They will sit on the side of your bed, and you'll actually feel the bed sink down like the weight of a person sat on the side of your bed while you're laying there asleep. Sometimes it's as simple as that, but you know, if you think, oh no, what it is, or if you go straight to fear, you're missing all the other parts. So I want you to know there's both sides here. So you can always ask for, if you're not sure, that protection. If you start to sense or feel things a little bit more, I know I have in the last week. Wow. Yeah, it's just picking up, and I'm noticing that. Well, actually 2 weeks. Let me pull that back. It's been since a week before the full moon, so it's probably been a couple of weeks. But it is just, we're moving into a sensitive time of the year where things like that will be easier to pick up on. It's the turning point about what's going to change here. So lots of change. Now, September is, and here's the part I want, if you have the opportunity or you're not familiar with this is where we're going to talk about numerology for a moment. September is an interesting, powerful numerology month anyway. It's the 9th month, so that's the final ending of something before something else begins. See, turning point. Also, and I don't know if you know this or not, now in numerology, everybody has, you know, you have a life path number, you have a personal year number, you have a personal month number, personal day, all that. But we're going to narrow that down because that's a whole nother topic that takes hours. September is the only month that the personal year number and personal month number are the same. That doubles or magnifies, maybe we should pay attention to what that number is because it's the whole year, plus it's that month. So it's a good time to focus on what is that. If you want to know what yours is, it's very easy. You add your birth date, like if you were born February 14th, you would add the day is 14. So it would be 1 plus 4 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5. Now, why am I saying 5? Because 2021 is a 5 year. Guess what 5 is? Change. Lots of change. Is that a surprise? Probably not. So if you want to find out what your personal year and month is right now, it would be really easy. You wouldn't have to do both separately. Just do the year. And then you would want to focus on what that number means. So for example, believe it or not, I checked mine before I came on. Mine's an 8 this year. And 8's been popping up a lot for me anyway. But it is an 8. And so this is a personal 8 month. This is a personal year 8 for me. So what is the 8? I would look in and study numerology about what that 8 is. So like I said, we can do that next week if you want. Let me know in the chat if you want to dive into that a little bit more. But right now you could figure out, because it's so much I want to go over here, we can make a little bit more time for that next week. But if you want to find out what yours is, you can look it up. You can do some homework yourself and do that research. It's good to do it. So remember, you're adding the birthday, the day of the month you were born, the number of the month. So if it was 11, if it was November, you would have 2 1s in there. But if it's like a single number, like 4 or 5, like April or May, the 0 doesn't really matter. So you're adding the month, the day, plus 5. You add that all together. Then, if you have 2 digits, you obviously more than likely will. So say you ended up with 21 or something. Now you break that down again. You got to break it all the way down to a single number. So that 21 would be 2 plus 1 equals 3. That would be your number. That's what you're looking for. So I'm going to keep moving because this is a month where you want to look into that a little bit more if you're interested in something like that. So it is just, this month is powerful for that. Okay, so you want to look at the gifts and the lessons that that number for you brings you. Okay, let me know if you want to do that a little bit more next week. We will put some time into that next week and we'll go over the different numbers and what they mean if you want. So let me know. You got to let me know or I'm going to keep moving on. So now another one that September has is it's got the final Mercury retrograde of the year. Yay, Mercury retrograde, yum. We got all the communication stuff, right? So this is where Mercury is about communications. And sometimes we have to just kind of slow down if things are misunderstood or misfiring, or wait a minute, how come my emails aren't going through? How come my messages aren't being answered? That kind of thing. This is the last one this month. So you want to just, go with the flow on that. They take about 3 weeks. Now let me go over some timelines, so you'll know what's going on. First of all, September 1st. That's next week. That is when you want to work with that numerology number, and we'll work with that. I think we should. I don't know. I'm feeling that. And I'm not looking at the chat yet, so I can make sure I get the information out first, okay? And then we'll go to chat. I feel like we're doing better when we go that way, because then I make sure I get all the information out that I want to give to you for people that will be listening on the archive. So that, right at the beginning of the month, we want to be paying attention to that. So your homework would be, if you wanted to look at it that way, find out what your personal year or month would be. So personal year is what I gave you. That's the calculation. That'll give it to you for personal month as well this year. This is the only month you can really find that. On other times, it's different. September 6th, that's when we have a Virgo new moon. Virgo new moon. And that's a mixed bag of energy. Yay, right? This one, you'll feel adventurous. You might feel the productivity, but you might also feel like retreating. You might want to feel like going deeper into old wounds, maybe ancestral wounds. You want to do some healing. You want to do some deeper work. So you'll feel a little bit of all of the above. You'll want to go out there, and then you might want to pull back in. Just give a little time to both. Just balance it out a little bit and go with it. One day you might feel more retreat. The next day you might, okay, I'm ready to go out there. You might feel it differently. You know, just go with what you're feeling for yourself. That's important. I really think that's going to help you a lot. There's also this asteroid. Here we go with another asteroid. There's this asteroid called Nessus. Or Nessus. It's Nessus is how it's spelled. And this is an ancestral is what I was trying to say. Ancestral healer. This one is related to that. It's very active during this new moon, so you might find that you're more aware of things you've been carrying around since childhood, or mom and dad, or grandparents or great-grandparents, or several hundred years back in your family. You might be feeling it a little bit more. You might be wanting to dig into that a little bit more. New moons are always about new beginnings, but it's also about setting those intentions for where you want to move forward. But it's also, with this one, it's interesting because your past is going to come up for awareness. We talked about that a little bit last week. That's that Aquarius energy again. And you want to learn what you needed to learn. You want to let go, and you want to heal, and you want it to shift and transform. You want to shift it to serve you better in the future. There's one of those turning points that you'll feel an urging to do. That's what's coming with this energy. September 7th, we have Mercury's entering the shadow period. Okay, here we go. And what does that mean? What is the shadow period? Because it's going direct, and then when it hits the shadow period, it starts to slow down. It's like basically putting the brakes on before it goes retrograde. That's what the shadow period is. It's slowing down before it goes backwards. So, and it goes backwards a little bit later. So that's when it starts. September 7th, it starts slowing down. And this is, like I said, referred to as the shadow period. But it's recommended that we start to slow down a little bit on that project. This is where we'll find that we pull back and we review. It's preparing us that all this push forward, we might want to pull back a little bit, slow it down. And rather than adding a whole bunch of new things, like review what you have and just work with it. Just don't feel like you have to get something out yesterday if it's not ready. It's okay, but you want to work on it. You want to review, you want to polish it, you want to just get ready so when it does get ironed out and you do have it figured out, you'll be able to move forward in a few weeks. Now, September 9, that's the 9-9 in numerology. Here we are with numerology again. The 9, this is the day it's known to unlock that code of 9-9, so to speak, in numerology. This is the number of completion, like I said, number of completion, endings, graduations, the finale of what was before we start something new. So in your life, you want to look at, what am I graduating from, or finalizing, or finishing? Whether it's personal, spiritual, anything. It could be anything that's going on for you in particular. What's going on for you? Because this can also be linked to leadership energy. This can also be linked to, you've completed this cycle, and give yourself some kudos. You're ready to move forward. It's time to move and prepare yourself for the next phase. And if you think about it, that retrograde slowing down a little bit for us gives us that opportunity to take that break before we start something new. This energy allows wisdom to stake up and to stake your claim, to stand up, to take leadership in your life. Just be in charge of you, not somebody else being in charge of you. This is what you would focus on September 9. That's the 9-9 day. September 10, Venus will enter Scorpio. Now, Venus moving out of the air sign Libra and into a water sign of Scorpio is kind of different. Venus in Scorpio helps us connect with a sensual side very much, allows us to tune in with desires that we want to bring into the world with greater ease. It's a working movement to bring it into the world. Venus in Scorpio is also very sensitive. It's a sensitive placement. You may feel more intuitive. You may be aware of your deeper emotions. You won't be avoiding them as much. You want to go there and explore them and just go there. You know, you want to take care of it. You want to work with it. You want to understand it. It's like this deeper wisdom yearning from deep inside of you. Now, on September 11, that's a 911 numerology. We're going to work with the numerology. So I know where a lot of people's minds went there, but this is a day that has the 9th month to the 11th day. It's a code in numerology. It's known as the calling of the light worker. That's what it's known for. It's known to indicate that you're being called to bring your gifts in, maybe as a healer or a light worker, to move forward, to connect with this energy and acknowledge it. I wanted you to hear it from a different perspective there. It's about unique healing gifts. It's about what light can you bring to the world. That's what I would love for you to remember on that day. September 14. September 14 is Mars will enter Libra. What is that all about? This is entering a milestone event. So Mars entering Libra is important. And that's because while Libra is an air sign, Mars is a fire sign. And it aligns with the sun. So everything on October 7 here, and we're talking about September 14 right now, but this will take place on October 7, so it's kind of giving us a hint about October 7. But it's going to start on September 14th. It'll start rolling in and easing in. Mars energy is strong anyway. It's a very go-get-it, productive, proactive type of energy. You can feel energized, you can feel fearless, but it can also trigger you to be impatient or have heated emotions, so to speak. Be careful about burning out with something like that. So you're looking for a balance between these two energies when it comes to that time, which is right in the middle of September. But it's talking and rolling us up to what's going to happen on October 7th. September 20 is the Pisces full moon. I mean, you know, as we go through different shows coming up, we'll go through different parts of this more in depth. But the Pisces full moon is a sensitive one because Pisces in general is sensitive anyway. It's a very spiritual sign. It's a very floaty sign. It wants to be more into the spiritual realm anyway. You might find that you feel like a little more emotional, moody. You want to express more. You might feel like that a little bit. And Neptune is active, and that's a spirituality one too. A little bit more with intuition and spirituality with Neptune active during that full moon. Now, what could cloud your judgment here? Neptune can sometimes be the planet that brings in illusions versus fact. Because it's mystical, and sometimes you want to watch that, so you want to make sure that you are staying grounded during that time. You want to realize and just take a step back and not jump into something. Make sure it's not an illusion, that it's for real, for example, or, you know, don't let it create confusion. It can sometimes create confusion, but it's also a very spiritual connecting on the intuition level. So you can always ask for that clarity if you're not sure. Don't be afraid of it. Just don't hesitate to ask for the clarity either. So this is where we're getting close to Mercury going into retrograde. When we get to this point, we're at September 20. And this can start to feel like you have a fogginess. Okay, like mental, like, wait, I can't, because it's a communication, foggy, not sure, you might feel a little bit like that. But it's also a time where you do want to work with your intuition, especially with Neptune in there. You want to trust that. You want to trust your vibe. It might look like the illusion is completely opposite from what you're picking up with your intuition. Keep that in mind. You might be feeling like, no, this just doesn't feel right to me, or it feels right, and everybody's saying no. You've got to be able to trust that. So you want to be working with that. If it feels off, if something feels off, listen to that and pay attention and pause. Okay, wait for the clarity before moving forward. It's as simple as that. It really is. Just don't do it if it doesn't feel right. Now, September 20, we're getting there, hang on. September 22, 23, there's your equinox, and now the Libra season begins. So this is the pivotal part of the month. It's a special day. This is when we experience the turning point in the flow of the energy that's moving in. So that's the September 22 time frame. So this is where you'll feel that shift just building, and you'll just feel like, I know it's shifting in this area of my life. This is just where it's happening. This is what's changing. Are you afraid of it, or are you ready for it? Are you looking for options? Are you avoiding it? These are things you're going to need to, you want to be working on that before you get to that point, but if you're still feeling that way, that's where it's going to get real. You want to just really pay attention to that, because it's all to benefit you. None of this is to hurt you. It's to help us grow. This is a time to connect with healing energies. If you haven't done any healing lately, nature can be very healing. Just grounding, your meditation time. You want to welcome a transitional time like this, not avoid it or be afraid of it. So I'm bringing that up because sometimes people just don't like change, but change is necessary for moving forward. Energy moves forward. So here we go. Now the sun also moves into Libra on this day as well, on September 22nd. So bring attention to relationships. Yay. And this, how we're choosing to balance giving and receiving with one another. How are we working with that? Do we need to adjust something? During this Virgo season, you're encouraged to be independent too. You're encouraged to look for what you can do on your own. Inner resources. What do you have that you have built up? What can you share? How can you connect? How can you contribute? Remember, it's an Aquarius year too. So this is where you're learning how you can help somebody else too. Because it all goes around. When you're helping someone else, you're helping yourself. When you're helping yourself, you're helping someone else. We mirror each other like you wouldn't believe. We're all connected in some way. So basically, you're focusing on what you can bring to the table. September 26th, here's our Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde in Libra. This one is the last one of the year, and this one will remain in retrograde until October 18. It's usually about 3 weeks. So that's September 26 to October 18. And this is, like I said, considered the messenger planet. So this is when things can get confusing or overlooked. So take a deep breath. Don't get upset till you give someone a chance to, make it right. And if they just don't, they just don't. But just keep in mind that it can be a miscommunication, or maybe something you really wanted might be delayed. This just happens at certain times, but it's really going to be a gift because of the big shifts coming in October. So when you get to that point, just ask, what is the planet what is Mercury retrograde trying to bring to you, is what you want to say with that. So that's a breakdown of the months. Now we'll work with the angels, and we'll take some questions, and we'll see what's going on out there. First off, I did ask this morning before we came on the show, I asked Michael, Archangel Michael, because this is a time that can make people feel a little bit of anxiety. So I asked him about that. And he's the one that you go to when there's fear involved, if you're afraid, if you want to avoid, if you're feeling scattered, if you feel you have toxic energy on you, all these things. But also, he's a great angel for planning, very logical and organized. If you feel like you're so scattered that you can't get yourself organized to move in a direction that you want to do or work on some things, or, you know, think of it as a business coach. He's great with that. Your life purpose, wonderful with that. But this is an angel that brings in some confidence. This angel also oversees guardian angels. Remember that. You have a guardian angel with you all the time. Don't forget about them. They are there with you for life. Don't forget about them. Mine reminded me the other day, and I mean, there was a presence very strong there. And it had been a while since I had physically felt my guardian angel there, but I realized, you want my attention and you want to remind me, and thank you. And it was great. I mean, that's what it felt like. It just was letting me know. Just letting me know. Okay, let me go over to the chat because I can see. Wow, all right, let's see who's here. Hello, everybody. So I'm going to scroll back up so I can catch up with everyone. So I want to welcome everyone to the show. So hi, let's see, we have Michelle, Robin, Maddie, Megan, Belinda, Connectory. I like that name. Okay, all right, we got a few people. So what we got here? So good morning to all of you. Well, we're glad to have you with us, Megan. You're welcome. Glad you're here with us. So Maddie, I'm hoping it's the energy that's making me feel so drained and fatigued this week, and it's not something else. Oh, okay, there goes that thinking for you again. Okay, here's what I'm picking up as soon as I read that. Because there's a little bit of stress and concern that you're hoping it's not something else, look at what you're doing to make sure you support your immune system in a very strong way. Extra vitamin C or whatever it is you do, okay? Whenever you feel a little tired and drained, even if it's energy you clear. I mean, this happens to me a lot, and this is in general for anybody. Because I work with energy and I'm doing so much with you guys like this, I have to do something about it too. So I'll clear the energy, but then I'll also make sure that my nutrition or my vitamin supplements or whatever it is, that I listen to that and I make sure that I didn't forget to take them. I have a tendency to do that when I get busy. And I've asked, help me remember to do that. And just look at that. If you've been really busy, or anytime you're in a stressed situation, it's taxing the immune system. It is. It could just be you're going through nerves about something. It could be, a big interview, or you're going through a tough time in life, whatever it might be, whatever's causing the stress. That's almost irrelevant. Stress drains our immune system. And then we don't sleep at night because we're overthinking everything. It happens to all of us. Absolutely. It happens to me too. I get it. So that's what I'm picking up immediately to support. Do some extra TLC to take care of your immune system. Connect toward good morning. Good morning. Oh, yours is a 9. Well, no, it's not a bad number. Remember, your number is a 9. Okay, your number's a 9. We got a 5. We got an 8. So I'm an 8. I'm an 8 this month too. This year. Let's see. This is a year to finalize for you, Maddie. That's what that's talking about. Let's do this. Let's do that next week. Yes. We're going to go into that. We'll go into each of the numbers and the meanings, and we'll work with that. So if you guys find out what your number is, we'll work with that next week because it's the whole month. And we will check it out. Yep. Falafel Dude's an 8. For this year, you're an 8 too. I know. 8s everywhere. So many 8s. I thought that I was an 8, but I didn't realize that I was an 8 the whole year. I don't know. I've been so busy with stuff. So let's see. All right. Everybody wants to do that. We'll do the numerology next week then. We'll do that. Let's see. Robin, hoping this new moon will help me release more to start sleeping better. Can't seem to sleep more than 4 or 5 hours. You are not alone, girl. I've been waking up at 3 and 4 every day for about a month. I'm not tired. And I got concerned. I go, I got to make sure I'm getting my sleep. But I am falling asleep at night around 9:30 or 10. So I've always been one of those that doesn't need much more than 5 or 6 hours. And I don't care what they say about the 8 or the 7 or whatever. I can't sleep if I get more than that. I just don't sleep that much. So, and I'm a really light sleeper, but I'm very in tuned a lot during the night because I get a lot of messages and information at night. And I have been every night for the last month. It's been crazy. So, if you work on clearing energy, and if you work on soothing and giving yourself some restoration time, something that takes tension off. It could be exercise, it could be activity, it could just be having some fun. It could be a type of music you listen to. I have to watch what type of music I listen to if I am in a state like that, because music has a frequency to it. It's a big frequency. Music has frequency. If you feel that you need a pep up, you would take and choose a different type of music, obviously. But that's if it's music. Whatever it is that just calms you, you need to do that. Sometimes it's just being to yourself and not around so many other energies. I have to do that. I have to make sure that I give myself that time. So these are just different suggestions because I think that a lot of people are feeling and sensing intuitively the energy more. So we want to pay attention to what we can do to support our bodies while we're going through a shift like that, like a transition. So that's important. Any guidance from angels? It says coming from Maddie. Any guidance from angels about whether I'm using this energy the right way to really launch my career? It's not coming in that way at all. It's not coming in. Seize opportunity sustainably. This is I'm feeling the whole, this is what I'm getting. I'm getting these two hands like, slow down, slow down. And I know you want it to move, but all the answers aren't going to unfold like that right now. We're moving kind of into that cloudy period, so it's okay. You've done a lot of progress up till now. It's just time for it to process and settle in. And because you're so drained, not the time to move forward and wear yourself out anyway. It's time to restore. So you're going into a restoration period is why it feels like that. I know, it is. And some people feel like, oh no, but I was moving and I was growing and I was doing all these things but this is why we have these cycles. The universe actually helps us out. We just don't see it that way sometimes. It actually helps us by bringing us in to these times of life where, okay, we just need to slow down. It's not working right now, but in a couple of weeks it will. And it starts to clear up. But Maddie, I'm really feeling like you need to take care of you a little bit right now. I keep feeling that. So nothing to be alarmed about, but it's more of the priority than the career job thing. Honestly, that's what I'm picking up. It's really strong. So I'm just putting it out there. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but there is a very strong sense of take care of you right now. Connectory, personal year 9. End a 6-year relationship and quit an unfulfilling job. Oh my goodness. All of that's happened this year? That's a lot. Yeah, you've had a lot of shift. This is finalizing for you. Any insight on what area of life I will experience a new beginning? Okay. I'm picking this up from Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel. That is the angel of communication. So Gabriel can help with creativity, coming up with a new plan, project, new direction. And the biggest thing that I'm picking up for you is you're going to go through a period in this new beginning at first of seeing things from a different perspective. Think of it that way. If you could look at your life, the daily things you do, the activities that you're involved in, if you could look at them from a different perspective or another point of view, that's what I'm getting. It's a very important time for you because you've just gotten out of something that was, mixed with someone else's energy. You want to make sure that you're seeing things differently, clearly, and looking at them from different perspectives can help a lot. So that came from Gabriel. So I would recommend asking Gabriel for a little extra help with that because that's what I'm picking up. I would like some guidance on my... Oh. Oh, okay. I was like, I had to go to the next line. Guidance on your spiritual abilities, where to focus. On the one that's the most interesting to you, honestly. It feels like you want to try to do them all at the same time. And that's normal. It's normal to want everything at the same time because we get excited about it. But it's a sense of knowing and being clear on the one that is the most interesting to you. You don't have to know all of it at once. It's better to focus on the one that's really just catching your eye. The one that you can read the book. It's really hard to put it down. The one that you just can't wait to get back to it. That's where you want to go. I'm not going to tell you what that is because that's all part of the spiritual gift part. You want to know what that is. No one can tell you what that is for you. That would not be right of me to do. So I'm doing that out of respect for you because you want to choose that. But it's the one that's the most interesting, the one that's exciting, you can't wait to read, or you want to read about it all the time. That's where you want to go. You also want to look at, if you're looking at spiritual abilities, you also want to look at what's the easiest way for you. There's different ways we pick up spirit or intuition or other dimensions. Clairvoyance is seeing, okay? That's one of them. That's popular. You hear that about psychics. But there's also hearing. There's also a sense of, I just know. I don't know how I know, but I just got this feeling. That one is a real popular one. You might even feel like you always have a digestive or right in the center where your solar plexus is. That sense of just knowing this is the right, you got that gut feeling. That's a clairsentience or claircognizance, sorry. A clairsentience is you can smell it. So there's different ways you can pick up. Which one seems to be the one that's natural to you is where you want to start, honestly. That would be what I would do. And that's always the way to go. Thank you. You're welcome, Maddie. I'm a member of Deprived Sleep Group. I think we all are. Because there's a lot of spiritual activity in the middle of the night. Have you ever noticed that? They call it, they don't call that the witching hour for nothing. But that time, right in the wee hours of the morning is just a crazy time. Here's the other thing that I want to remind everybody about. If you go to sleep and then you find yourself awake at 2 or 3, instead of fighting it, just go with it. Okay, why am I awake? What do you want me to know? And listen to it and go with it. The reason I say that is because right before you wake up, or right in those moments when you first wake up, doesn't matter when you wake up, just right in those first moments, that's the closest to a meditative state. A state of mind where you're in the subconscious or you're closer to it, where you can pick up things. Once we get up and we get moving and we get busy with life and the physical, we're now in a full conscious state and it's a little bit different. Meditation helps you go to that state, but right at the first moments that you wake up is closest to the meditative state. That's when you want to appreciate, okay, hey, I'm awake right this time. What do we got going on? Pay attention to it. Look and see what it wants to tell you. Let's see, where are we? I lost track. Hang on. It's moving. I'm just trying to find out where I was because the chat, we got a good crowd in here today. Okay, got that one. Okay, here we go. You're welcome, Maddie. Absolutely. Yes, TLC for you. You put a lot of thought into a lot of things, so just make sure you take care of yourself. You're welcome, Robin. This has been going on for 3 months and tried a bunch of different things to detach before heading to bed. Candace, hi. I hear dead people. Okay. Yeah. Well, they're in a dimension that's not very far from this one, honestly. How is that for you, Candace? I had a vivid early morning dream recently about witches and aliens. I have no idea what to make of it. Well, how do you feel about them? maybe it's bringing something to your attention on how you relate to that, because dreams are metaphoric. It was an early morning dream. Was it something that you're interested in, or something that has a fear base to it? You know, you're looking at, what is your opinion of that? Like, look, how does that relate to you? What does that make you think? I've seen plenty of dead people. I've heard them. I talked, yes, but they're not dead. They're not really dead. They just don't have a body. And they're not actually here either. They're in another dimension. You're just picking up the signals from another dimension. Just like the angelic realm, I'm picking up that signal. And that one, you know, honestly, I've been doing that since I was as young as I can remember, so I just thought everybody did. And then when I realized as I got older and understood the adults weren't seeing what I was seeing, or they weren't picking it up, I thought, oh, okay. But you can, and the other thing is, a lot of people might be afraid of it, or sometimes you're taught to be afraid of it. Here's what you can do. An angel or a divine being or a spirit guide, or if it's grandma coming to say I love you, they're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to be mischievous. But if you're not sure what it is and you find that something's coming in that you're not sure about, you can ask for clarification. You can ask them to identify themselves. An angel's not going to be offended by that. Grandma's not going to be offended by that. You just ask. And if it's coming in chaotic or confusing, you can tell them to leave until you understand it better. Even if it was a real angel, because they're not going to come in and bring chaos and confusion anyway. That's not what they do. Because when they bring a message in, it's going to be consistent. It's going to be the same message. It's not going to, and they don't even come in if it's going to frighten you if you're not ready. So I didn't hear that you were afraid of it, Candace. I just hear that you're intrigued, like, why in the world am I dreaming this? But ask, just put it out there. Giovanna, hello Giovanna. Let's see. Hi Jen, I've been really looking forward to my twin flame union, but I've been a little impatient. Do the angels have anything for me regarding my twin flame dynamic? You probably won't like it very much, but they're saying there's a patience thing going on here, because there's different aspects of twin flame. You know, there's different beliefs on that, and you want to be clear on that. It's not just a romantic thing. Sometimes it's the other half of your soul, and you're bringing that into completion because you split off. One's in, you know, there's all these different writings on that. So what I'm hearing for you is the opposite of impatient, and they're just reminding you, yes, we know that you feel anxious about it, but there is some growth that you'll go through, and it's not bad at all. It's just that there's some growth and some timing. Divine timing is everything, and we don't always understand that. So I don't see that happening in the near future. And when I say near future, I'm talking a few months out. But I don't see anything, I'm not trying to see into the years and years and years. I'm just seeing that there's some more patience and growth for you. And as you do that, you'll understand, okay, now I get why it was taking a little longer. That makes more sense now. We may not understand it now. It's kind of like when we're children and they tell us to go to bed early and we don't want to, we want to stay up all night. But then when we're adults, we understand why they were telling us that, but we didn't then. So it's just a growth part of the soul. So it happens to all of us, and a lot of times we don't know until it finally arrives. The goal is to keep believing in it and keep attaining that growth. Let me see, where do we go? Candace, it's practice for me about learning to filter the message. No fear. It felt real, as if I were there. Yeah. And that's what it was like for me a couple of nights ago. I had the same thing. I mean, literally like it was in the physical presence for me. And I thought, wow, that's been a while since it's felt like that. So for me personally, and I thought, okay, but we've had a few things popping through. I've had some family members that have crossed over coming in, and I've had some interesting stuff coming in recently, but they're all coming in with love. So if this is coming in in that form? Is it asking you to dig deeper into esoteric studies? Is it asking you to look at the magic of the world, like the possibilities? Is it looking, what do you think that it's telling you? Because I feel a 6 and a 7 when I'm talking to you about that, which is kind of interesting. So look into that a little bit deeper, Candace. Let's see. Yeah, Maddie's seeing more. I'm feeling like I'm sending. I've been feeling like I'm seeing more around me at night, and it has spooked me a little bit. But I've never been one to really see spirits. Well, as you work on spiritual growth and where you've got that veil thinning, see, it's easier. Here's the thing, guys. If you feel like it's a little much and you're not ready for some of it, you can just take a step back and say, yeah, I need a break so I can process this. Yeah, we can't control how they reach out because I'll be honest with you, they've been reaching out a lot more to me too. Even people that don't see it have been saying something to me, so you're not alone. But we're moving into a consciousness where we're aware of it's not just this physical world going on here. There's a lot more to it. And we have a lot of help and a lot of assistance. But you can always ask for the validation, or you can ask to take a break. Don't overdo it. Let's see. Let you sleep. Yeah, you can do that. You absolutely can. And usually it works pretty quick. Let's see, anything coming in for my aspect of life? Because we're going so fast, Megan, it would help if you gave me a narrowed down area, because that's a real general question that's like an hour reading, and we're going through doing a couple of minutes freebies here in the show, so that would help me out a lot. If you just give me a little bit more specific what you're looking for. Let's see, you guys are just going. Let's see, Shadana, hey there, girl. I'm having a rough time dating and finding a compatible partner. I attract the broken. Is it me? How do I attract someone that... okay, this is doing the work for a healthy relationship. Okay. Let's talk about this a little bit, because it's a very common thing that happens. And we think, okay, we're not going to do that again. And it'll happen. But here's what you want to look at. And you don't have to answer, but what exactly is attractive to you? You need to list that out. You need to look at what's attractive to me. What is it that draws me in? There's something in that list, and this is going to be something that'll go deep and personal for you, so I don't want to do all that here. But it's very deep and personal for you. You're like, what in that list is the red flag? It might be very deceptive for you. Watch it. A lot of times it's the flattery that'll get us, and just be careful with that. But look at the list of what is attracting you to this same type, and then look at that each one very clearly, very slowly. Just really put some thought into it, and which one's a red flag? Which one seems to be the common denominator across the board? Because everybody's got different personalities, but then there'll be something that is going to stick out. And it's going to hit you. You're going to go, that's it. Why am I attracted to that? Then once you identify that, you'll be able to cut that cord of that attraction to that and release that. Does that make sense? I hope so. Because that was pretty cool information actually for all of us. Let's see. Maybe study is in order. It's something new that you're going to discover in your spirituality, Candace. You're looking at never considered the witch arts. I mean, aromatherapy is considered part of that. Working with the moon cycles is considered part of that. Some of it intertwines and mixes, but I'm not trying to say that I'm part of any of that. I'm not, in a structure of any of that. I've studied everything about energy, and it doesn't matter to me where that energy is coming from or where I get that information. I bring it all together, and I've compiled what is working and what's making sense to me personally. So I'm sharing with experience what I do know and the studies that I have done in metaphysics. So some of that comes under that title too. So that would just be something to explore, like what are you drawn to understanding? Because energy healing is sometimes considered that. We're just working with energy. We're working with our thoughts. Are they positive or negative? There's positive, negative to everything. Let's see, we've got having trouble getting motivated. Michelle, having trouble getting motivated. Do you have a message for me? This sounds like you're looking for something fresh and new because it's gotten boring. It feels like it's just, life has just gotten boring for you and you need something that'll be exciting for you. It doesn't have to be job related, doesn't have to be career related. It could be just that you're going to learn how to do something new that's fun, a hobby. You need something that will take your mind out of the same thing every day, every day, every day. Just so you get excited and you look forward to learning something new. That will help a lot. And that's what I'm picking up for you. That was Michelle. Belinda has heard Archangel Raphael say one word in your sleep. Let's see. It was loud enough to wake me up. Oh yeah. Been there, done that. It's actually kind of cool. Has anybody ever heard the doorbell thing or the knocking? I know, doesn't that? Would you believe that they're polite? They'll knock or ring the doorbell and ask if you're in. Can they come in and talk to you? Has anybody ever experienced that? I have. And it's so loud, it's like somebody put a bell like right here in your ear. Or you'll hear your name very loud. Sometimes that's your higher self actually talking to you. Especially if you hear your own name spoken quite loudly in your own voice. Think about that. Is your higher self trying? Is that your soul getting your attention? Think about that. Let's see. Specifically your romantic relationship. I seem to attract the broken as well. Okay, Megan. Thank you for that. Megan, it's very similar. If you have a habit of attracting, I mean, we all have something we're healing from. So instead of calling them broken, it's more about an energy frequency that's misaligning. We all work with attracting what we're putting out, but we want to make sure that's literally how it works. You're going to attract in the energy you put out there. So you want to make sure you're being true to that energy. A lot of times that's the trick right there. That's what we've been missing the whole time. We go out there and we're polite, we smile, we make sure we present ourselves well, but are we being real? Are we saying yes when we mean no, we're not interested in that, that's not really my favorite thing to do, things like that. Don't pretend you love sports if you don't. Don't pretend you love gardening if you don't. You know, that's what I'm saying. Be honest and be real and let people get to know who that is. That's how you attract in what will align for you. One of the things about the broken relationships that we seem to draw in, we want to work on what can we do, because we mirror and reflect, and I'm not saying you're broken, but it's always good to look at what we can do on the inside too. Instead of assuming it's always them, is to say, okay, what can I do to be better in relationships? That energy gets sent out too, that comes back as a positive. So those are a couple of things about the relationships. Donna, that will help you as well. Yeah, this is a conversation that's going. Let's see. Belinda, I'm with you. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Let's see. I tend to be tomboy label. What? Label spiritual stuff and embrace what I'm comfortable with. Okay. You tend to be a tomboy. Okay. Here's an interesting, I think that's what you're saying. I don't know. That got kind of weird. I don't know if I understood that right. Not the label strange autocorrect. I know. I get you. I know. Isn't that fun when technology is just helping you out? You know, like, here, is this what you meant? Absolutely not. Yeah. Yes, to the knocking, you've seen that. Also whispering lately, yep. You guys, what you're feeling is the thinning of the veil coming, and you're connecting. I mean, that's what we are joining together every week in this show about. You guys are picking it up. Your intuition's kicking in. So you want to embrace it, you want to support it. You don't want to be afraid of it. But like I said, if something's coming in that you're just not sure about, then question it and say, I don't know about you yet. It could be angels. But if you're just not sure, then you say, until I understand who you are, please leave me alone. If you need sleep, you can ask. If they're coming in very loud with high pitches, like, oh, that sometimes can be piercing in my ear. Real high frequency pitch noises. You can ask them to turn the volume down. You just have to ask. And because they're so excited, they're just not sure if you can hear. I mean, let me just give you an example. When my dad passed away, he was one of the loudest spirits I have ever heard. He was a comical, strong energy anyway when he was awake. When he was alive. But then when he passed, right in those few days, right after, it was so strong. The night he passed away, it was very late, like 2 in the morning. We get home and it's like 4. We're so tired. 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. We haven't slept all night. And he literally, I had a cat then. My cat since has passed away, but my cat freaked out. There was this crazy sound. We finally had laid down, and it sounded like a paper grocery bag full of cans, like canned food, was thrown across the bedroom into a chair. My cat heard it. There was no paper bag or cans, but my cat and I heard it. We both were sitting up looking, going straight into that direction. I knew it was my dad just saying, I'm here. The next day, I was talking to family members saying, he was sitting in the truck with me while I was on my way home. He was everywhere. He was so strong. He's just been like that. Every now and then, he lets me know he's there. Not everybody will come in that strong, but he's one of the stronger ones. So some come in easier than others. And I knew it was him. And he just never stopped. I'm not kidding you. The whole time we're at the funeral home, picking out caskets, he's all wound up trying to say, I don't want that one, I want this one. I don't know, and what am I supposed to do with this information? Is anybody going to take me seriously? It was so loud. And he had me laughing in a state of a time when, we're all grieving and we missed him. But he had me in stitches because he was just constant. Anyway, I was sharing that because it was such an experience. So if you guys are having crazy stuff going on, take note of it. We're going to go because it's after 12 and I've already kept you an hour. But take note of it, pay attention, because what you're going to do is you're going to get a chart, because what I've noticed with spirit and angels is they will have this, it's like a decoder, you'll learn what they show you or what you hear or what you sense when it means this or that. And everybody can have something different. For example, when I'm doing a reading on someone and they're about to go into a lot of study, or they're excited, or they've just spiritually awakened, I always see the book stacks. You're reading 3 or 4 books at one time, and they always say yes. I know. So that's just something that's part of my decipher code. So you're basically going to put your own collection together of how they communicate with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the numerology worked up for the show next week. So don't forget, find out what your personal year is. That will also be the same as the September personal month. So you could just do one. You could do them both just to check it. But it should just be the one. And at the beginning of the show, I was telling you how to do that. If you missed that part, just go back through and you can hear that. And we'll go through what all that means next week in the show. Wow. Guys, you guys are awesome. I love this interaction. It's just like we have this awesome group that gets together. It doesn't really feel like a show. It just feels like we have a group of passionate people that want to grow on a soul level and want to learn and be everything they can be in the world while they're here. And I love that we can do all that together. So thanks so much, guys, for listening. I'm going to let you go because we are out of time. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about the numerology. I'm Dr. Jenn. Thank you so much. Namaste.
You've been listening to The Jenn Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life. Dr. Jenn Royster is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Imagine having the ability to use your innate positive energy to dissolve the stuckness in your life, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual, through this incredible dynamic show. If you've missed any part of this show or any other show, visit www